They told me I was lucky to be alive. I didn't feel lucky. I felt like half a person, literally. The left side of my face drooped like melted wax, and when I tried to say thank you to the nurse who adjusted my pillow, it came out sounding like I'd had 6 martinis for breakfast. 3 days. That's how long I stared at that hospital ceiling, counting the water stains and listening to other patients' families laugh in the hallway. 3 days of telling myself he was busy. He had work. The kids had school. Traffic was bad. 3 days of lying to myself. The nurse with the kind eyes, the one who reminded me of my sister before she passed, came in on the morning of day 4 with that same careful expression. "Still no visitors, sweetheart?" I tried to smile. Only half my mouth cooperated. "My son's coming," I said. At least that's what I meant to say. It sounded more like "Ma Shan's cuming." She nodded like she understood. But I saw it in her face. Pity. The kind you give to old women who wait by phones that never ring. "Would you like me to call anyone else? A friend? A neighbor?" "No," I slurred. "He'll come. What kind of mother admits her own child can't be bothered?" He finally walked through that door at 2:47 p.m. on day 3. I know because I'd been watching the clock since lunch. I heard his voice in the hallway first, not asking for my room number, but complaining about parking. 45 minutes circling this place, he said to someone. His wife, probably. They should validate. My heart lurched anyway. He came. My boy came. The door swung open, and there he was, 42 years old, wearing the expensive watch I bought him for his birthday last year. His wife, Jessica, trailed behind, scrolling on her phone. "Hey, Mom." Not "how are you feeling?" Not "I was so worried." Just, "Hey, Mom," like he'd run into me at the grocery store. I tried to lift my right hand, the one that still worked, to wave. It shook so badly I had to rest it back on the blanket. "Hi, baby," I whispered. My voice cracked. He didn't sit down. He stood at the foot of the bed with his hands in his pockets, glancing around the room like he was cataloging it. Jessica stayed by the door, still on her phone. "So, how are you doing?" How was I doing? I'd had a stroke. Half my face was paralyzed. I couldn't walk to the bathroom without 2 nurses holding me up. I'd spent 3 days wondering if I was going to die alone. "I'm okay," I managed. He nodded, checked his watch. My chest tightened. "Not from the stroke this time." "The doctors say you're improving," he said. "That's good." Did they call you?" I asked. My words were getting clearer, but they still felt thick and clumsy in my mouth. "Yeah, one of the nurses." He shifted his weight. "We came as soon as we could. Things have been crazy at work." As soon as we could. 3 days. I wanted to ask him why he didn't come sooner. Why he didn't call. Why he was standing 6 feet away like I was contagious. Instead, I reached for the glass of water on my bedside table. My hand was shaking so badly I knocked it over. Water splashed across the table, dripping onto the floor. I tried to catch it, but my left arm wouldn't move, wouldn't obey. I felt tears prick my eyes, half from frustration, half from humiliation. My son glanced at his watch. Not at me, not at the water pooling on the floor. At his watch. "We can't stay long, Mom," he said. "We're busy." The words hit me harder than the stroke did. Jessica finally looked up from her phone. "Yeah, we've got Connor's soccer game at 4. Connor. My grandson. 7 years old. I hadn't seen him in 6 months. "I understand," I whispered. But I didn't understand at all. A nurse came in, the kind one, and started mopping up the water without a word. She gave my son a look that could have curdled milk. He cleared his throat. "Anyway, we just wanted to check in, see how you're doing." "Thank you for coming," I said, "because that's what you say. Even when your heart is breaking." He nodded, looked around the room one more time. Then his eyes landed on the bedside table. On the fruit basket. It was from my neighbor, Mrs. Chen. She'd brought it yesterday, sat with me for an hour, held my hand while I cried, told me I was strong, that I'd get through this. My son picked it up. "We'll take this home," he said. "You can't eat all this yourself anyway." I stared at him. That's from. We'll make sure it doesn't go to waste. He tucked it under his arm like it was his. Like everything in this room was his. Jessica was already at the door. Feel better, Mom, he said. Then he turned to leave. That's when I heard it. Jessica's voice, low but not low enough. Did you grab the paperwork from her purse? My son nodded. Yeah, got it. The door closed behind them. I sat there in that hospital bed, half my face frozen, my left hand useless in my lap. Paperwork? I never asked them to look in my purse. I never asked them to take anything. My hands, both of them now, shaking for different reasons, reached for my purse on the chair beside the bed. I dumped it out onto the blanket. Wallet, tissues, lip balm, reading glasses, but the envelope I kept in the inside pocket, the one with my insurance card, my will, my bank information, it was gone. Mrs. Chen came back the next morning with a thermos of soup and fury in her eyes. That boy of yours, she said, setting the thermos down harder than necessary. He didn't even stay 10 minutes yesterday, did he? I tried to shake my head. It came out more like a wobble. Disgraceful. She pulled up a chair and sat down like she planned to stay a while. My daughter's in Seattle and she still calls me 3 times a day. Your son lives 20 minutes away. I wanted to defend him. That's what mothers do, right? We make excuses. We fill in the gaps. We tell ourselves stories that make the neglect hurt less. But I couldn't find the words. Not even the twisted, slurred ones. Mrs. Chen reached over and squeezed my good hand. You practice your words today? I nodded. Good. Say something for me. I took a breath, focused. Water. Better, much better than yesterday. She beamed at me like I'd just recited Shakespeare. Now try this one. Apple. Ah, apple. See? You're getting stronger every day. She pulled out her phone and showed me a photo of her garden. Look at my tomatoes. When you get out of here, I'm making you my grandmother's tomato soup. The real stuff. None of that canned garbage. When you get out of here. Not if. When. It was the first time anyone had talked about my future like I had one. Mrs. Chen visited every day that week, sometimes twice. She brought crossword puzzles I couldn't hold, but tried anyway. She brought photos of her grandkids and told me stories about her late husband that made me laugh actual laughs, even if they came out lopsided. She sat with me during physical therapy and cheered when I managed 3 steps with the walker. You're a fighter, she said. Don't let anyone tell you different. My son called once. On day 5. Asked how I was doing, said he'd try to visit soon, hung up before I could answer. Mrs. Chen was there when I cried about it. Some children, she said quietly, forget that their parents are people too. On day 6, Mrs. Chen arrived with the fruit basket. The one my son took. I bought you a new one? She said, setting it on the table. Oranges, grapes, some strawberries. And yes, I included a pineapple even though we both know you're not cutting that thing yourself. I stared at it, at her. My throat tightened. You didn't have to. Hush, what else am I going to do with my social security check? Save it? She waved her hand dismissively. Besides, I like you. You don't talk my ear off like the other ladies at bingo. I tried to smile. Half my face cooperated. We spent the afternoon practicing words. Orange, grape, grateful. That last one took me 6 tries. It was during one of those practice sessions that Mrs. Chen's expression changed. She was sitting beside me, helping me peel an orange with my one good hand when she glanced toward the window. Then she went still. What? I asked. It came out clearer now. What is it? She stood up slowly and walked to the window. My room was on the 2nd floor, overlooking the parking lot. Isn't that your son's truck? She asked quietly. My heart jumped. I tried to sit up straighter. He's here? Not here. Mrs. Chen's voice had gone cold. He's out in the parking lot. I used my walker to shuffle over to the window. It took me a full minute, but I made it. And there he was. My son, standing at the back of his truck, loading boxes. Not visiting me, loading boxes. From my house. I recognized the one on top, the old cardboard box I kept photo albums in, the one from my closet. What is he? My voice trailed off. Mrs. Chen's jaw was tight. He's been at your house all week, honey. I turned to look at her. What? I live 2 doors down, remember? I see things. She crossed her arms. Monday, he showed up with a moving truck. Tuesday, he was there with his wife and some other man I didn't recognize. Wednesday. Stop. My voice cracked. Please stop. But she didn't. Thursday, I saw him loading your mother's china cabinet into his truck. I almost came over to ask if you'd given him permission, but she looked at me with something like pity. I figured you knew. I didn't know. I didn't know anything. My legs felt weak. Mrs. Chen caught my arm and helped me back to the bed. He took my keys, I whispered. When he was here, I thought he was going to water my plants. Mrs. Chen's expression darkened. Oh, sweetheart. She stayed with me until visiting hours were over, held my hand while I cried, didn't say I told you so even though she could have. Before she left, she helped me practice a new word. Betrayal. I got it on the second try. The next morning, Mrs. Chen came back with her purse clutched tight and her face grim. I need to tell you something, she said. My stomach dropped. What now? She pulled her chair close. So close our knees almost touched. Yesterday, I went to the bank, just to deposit a check. She paused. I saw your son there. My breath caught. And? He wasn't alone. Mrs. Chen's voice dropped to almost a whisper. He was with a woman, professional looking, carrying a briefcase. Who? I asked the teller, casual-like. Mrs. Chen leaned in even closer. She works for Patterson and Burke. The name hit me like cold water. Patterson and Burke. The estate lawyers on Main Street. The ones who handle wills, trusts, end-of-life planning. Honey, Mrs. Chen said, her eyes searching mine. Did you ask him to meet with an estate lawyer? No, I whispered. I didn't. She nodded slowly, like she'd expected that answer. Then you need to ask yourself, she said quietly, what exactly your son is planning. The discharge nurse handed me a folder thick with instructions I could barely read and appointments I couldn't drive myself to. You'll need someone to stay with you for at least the first week, she said cheerfully. Do you have family nearby? I nodded, because what else was I supposed to say? My son had called that morning, first time in 4 days, and told me he'd pick me up at noon. We'll get you all settled at home, Mom. Don't worry about a thing. Don't worry about a thing. I'd been worrying about everything since Mrs. Chen told me about the lawyer. But he was coming. He was helping. Maybe I'd misunderstood. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe I was a fool. He pulled up at 12:17. I was waiting in the wheelchair by the entrance, my walker folded beside me, a plastic hospital bag with my few belongings in my lap. Mrs. Chen had wanted to drive me home herself, but I'd told her no. I needed to talk to my son, needed to hear him explain. He didn't get out of the truck, just rolled down the window and waved. A nurse wheeled me out to the curb. My son finally climbed out slowly, like it was a great inconvenience, and opened the passenger door. Can you get in yourself, or? The nurse's smile went tight. She'll need assistance. He sighed, actually sighed, then helped me into the seat like I was a bag of groceries he didn't want to drop. The walker went in the truck bed. My hospital bag got tossed on the floor by my feet. Thanks, I managed to say. He didn't respond, just started the engine. We drove in silence for 5 minutes before I worked up the courage. Did you go to my house this week? His hands tightened on the steering wheel. Yeah, had to grab a few things. What things? Just stuff, papers, some furniture. My chest tightened. Why? Mom. His voice had that edge to it, the one he used when he was annoyed. The house isn't safe for you right now. You can barely walk. You think you can navigate all those stairs? All that clutter? It's my house. And you almost died in it. He glanced at me. I'm trying to help you. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him. But then I remembered the boxes, the china cabinet, The lawyer? Where did you take my things? I'm storing them, so you don't trip over anything. I want them back. Mom, I want them back. He didn't answer, just kept driving. When we pulled up to my house, my stomach dropped. The front porch was empty. The rocking chair I'd sat in every evening for 15 years gone. The planter boxes with my geraniums gone. He helped me out of the truck and up the 3 porch steps. Each one felt like climbing a mountain. I unlocked the door with shaking hands and walked into a house I didn't recognize. The entryway was bare. The coat rack gone. The mirror my grandmother brought from Poland gone. The little table where I kept my mail gone. I gripped my walker and moved into the living room. Half my furniture was missing. The couch was still there, the TV, but everything else, the bookshelf, the side tables, the antique desk my father built with his own hands, all of it was gone. Just empty rectangular dust outlines on the hardwood floor where they used to be. What? My voice broke. What did you do? I told you. I'm storing things. He said it like it was reasonable, like he hadn't just gutted my home. You don't need all this stuff anyway. That desk was my father's, and now it's safe in my garage. I didn't ask you to take it. You couldn't ask for anything, Mom. You were in the hospital. He crossed his arms. Someone had to make decisions. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw something. Instead, I shuffled toward the kitchen, my walker squeaking against the floor. More empty spaces, the kitchen table gone, the chairs my mother reupholstered, gone, the china cabinet that held 4 generations of family dishes, gone. I braced myself against the counter. My good hand was shaking so badly I could barely hold on. Where's the china cabinet? Silence behind me. Where is the china cabinet? Mom, answer me. It's at my house. His voice rose to match mine. It's safer there. You want it to get broken when you fall? When you knock into it with that walker? I turned to face him. Half my face was still frozen, but the other half showed everything I felt. Rage, betrayal, heartbreak. You had no right. I had every right. He stepped closer. You're not capable of taking care of yourself right now. Someone has to be the adult here. The words hit me like a slap. Someone has to be the adult here. I raised you, I wanted to say. I fed you, clothed you, paid for your college, your wedding, your first house down payment. I was the adult for 42 years while you were busy being a child. But I couldn't get the words out. They stuck in my throat like broken glass. He checked his watch. I need to get going. Jessica's waiting. You're leaving? I got you home, didn't I? He headed for the door. There's food in the fridge. I'll check on you in a few days. Wait. But he was already gone. The door closed behind him. I heard his truck start, heard him drive away. I stood in my empty kitchen with my walker and my useless left side and the sound of my own breathing. Then I saw it. On the counter, under a coffee mug. A glossy brochure. I picked it up with my shaking right hand. Real estate brochure. Full color. Professional photos. Of my house. Charming 3-bedroom colonial. Original hardwood floors. Mature landscaping. Prime location. And at the bottom, in my son's handwriting on a yellow sticky note, list price, $650 kelvins. The brochure slipped from my hand and fluttered to the floor. He wasn't storing my furniture. He was staging my house. To sell it. Without asking me. While I was still living in it. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my living room, what was left of it, staring at those empty dust outlines on the floor until the sun came up. The real estate brochure was still on the kitchen counter. I'd looked at it 17 times. Read that sticky note until the words burned into my brain. List price, $650 kelvins. My house. The house I'd lived in for 30 years. The house where I raised him, where his father died, where every wall held a memory. And he was selling it out from under me. At 6:47 a.m., I called my lawyer. The one who'd done my will 15 years ago. The one I'd trusted. The one who'd shaken my hand and told me, "You're all set. Your son will be well taken care of." The phone rang 4 times before she answered. Diane Kowalski speaking. Diane. My voice was steadier now. Clearer. Anger has a way of making words sharp. It's me. Eleanor Bradford. A pause. Eleanor? Oh my God, I heard about your stroke. How are you? I need to know something. I didn't have time for pleasantries. Did my son come to see you? About 3 weeks ago? The silence on the other end told me everything. Diane. Eleanor, I can't discuss. He's my son. You did my will. You know him. Just tell me, did he come to your office? Another pause. Longer this time. Yes, she said finally. He did. My stomach dropped. What did he want? He wanted to discuss power of attorney, said you were getting older, that it was time to get things in order. Her voice was careful. Clinical. He wanted me to draw up documents giving him full authority over your finances and medical decisions. The room tilted. And I told him absolutely not. Not without you present. Not without your explicit consent. Diane's voice hardened. He wasn't happy about it. Said I was making things unnecessarily difficult. Did he? I had to stop, breathe. Did he say anything else? He asked if there were other lawyers in town who might be more understanding of the situation. The disgust in her voice was clear. I showed him the door. I closed my eyes. Thank you. Eleanor, if he tries anything at all, you call me immediately. Do you understand? I understand. But I didn't. I didn't understand how the baby I'd nursed, the boy I'd raised, the man I'd sacrificed everything for could do this to me. After I hung up, I sat there for 10 minutes, maybe 20. Then I got angry. Really angry. I grabbed my walker and went to find that folder. The one with my important papers, my will, my bank statements, the deed to this house. The one my son had taken from my hospital room. I started in my bedroom, pulled open drawers with my one good hand, dumped them on the bed, socks, underwear, old birthday cards. No folder. I checked the closet, shelves I could barely reach, boxes I had to drag down one-handed. Nothing. The office, his old bedroom, the one I'd turned into a home office after he moved out, was gutted. The desk was gone. The filing cabinet was gone. Even the chair was gone. Every drawer I could find came up empty. I tore through the house like a woman possessed. Kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanity, the hall closet. Nothing. Papers everywhere, my hands shaking, my left arm useless at my side. And then I saw my purse, still sitting by the front door where I dropped it yesterday. I dumped it out on the coffee table. Wallet, tissues, lipstick I hadn't worn in months, reading glasses, loose change. But the inside pocket, the zippered one where I always kept important things, empty. He'd taken it right out of my purse while I was lying in that hospital bed, half paralyzed and helpless. My own son had robbed me. I sank onto the couch, the only piece of furniture he'd left. That's when the phone rang. I almost didn't answer it, but something made me reach for it. Hello? Mrs. Bradford? A woman's voice. Professional. This is Sophia Chen from First National Bank. I'm calling to confirm a recent transaction on your savings account. My blood went cold. What transaction? A withdrawal of $30,000. It was processed yesterday afternoon. Papers rustling. The request came through your joint account holder, but we like to verify large withdrawals with our primary account holders as a courtesy. I don't. My voice sounded far away. I don't have a joint account holder. Silence. Ma'am, according to our records, your son was added to your savings account in, more rustling, in 2019. You came in together and signed the paperwork. 6 years ago. I remembered. He'd said it was just for emergencies, so he could help me if something happened, so I wouldn't be alone. I'd trusted him. Mrs. Bradford, are you saying you didn't authorize this withdrawal? No, I whispered. I didn't. I see. Her voice changed, became sharper, more focused. I'm going to flag this account immediately and send you fraud protection paperwork. Can I confirm your current address? I gave it to her, watched my hands shake as I wrote down a case number. $30,000. $30,000. Ma'am? The woman's voice softened slightly. I'm very sorry this is happening. We'll do everything we can to help resolve this. But I need to be honest with you because your son is a joint account holder. This becomes complicated. Legally, he had access to those funds. But I didn't give him permission. I understand. But the law sees it differently when there's a joint account. A pause. I strongly recommend you speak with an attorney. After I hung up, I sat there holding the phone. $30,000. My savings. The money I'd been setting aside for 20 years. For emergencies, for home repairs, for my funeral, so I wouldn't be a burden. Gone. And he'd taken it legally. I looked around my gutted house, at the empty spaces where my life used to be, at the real estate brochure still sitting on the counter. He wasn't just stealing from me. He was erasing me, planning my exit like I was already dead. And I'd given him the keys to do it. I'd signed those papers 6 years ago with a smile on my face and love in my heart because he was my son, and you trust your son. You trust your son even when you shouldn't. My phone buzzed. A text message. From him. Hey Mom, just checking in. How are you feeling? Need anything? I stared at those words until they blurred. Then I typed back with one shaking thumb. I need my money back, and my furniture, and my house keys. Now. I hit send. Watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Finally, his response came through. We need to talk. I'm doing what's best for you. You'll understand when you calm down. When I calm down? Like I was the one being unreasonable. Like I was the one who'd stolen $30,000 and half a house full of furniture. Like I was the problem. I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. And I sat there in my empty living room and cried. Not because I was sad. Because I was done. Mrs. Chen found me that afternoon. I hadn't answered my phone, it was still on the floor where I'd thrown it, so she'd used the spare key I'd given her years ago and let herself in. Eleanor? Her voice echoed through the empty house. Eleanor, honey, where are you? I was still on the couch, still in the same position. My face was puffy from crying, my left side aching from sitting too long. She took one look at me, and her expression hardened. What did he do now? I told her everything. The bank. The $30,000. The lawyer Diane had turned away. The power of attorney he'd tried to get behind my back. With every word, Mrs. Chen's face grew darker. When I finished, she pulled out her phone. What are you doing? I asked. Calling my daughter. She's a paralegal. Mrs. Chen was already dialing. We're getting you a lawyer, a real one, today. I can't afford. Eleanor Bradford, you shut your mouth. She pointed at me with the phone. That boy stole $30,000 from you. You can afford whatever you need. By 6 p.m. I had a lawyer. Her name was Patricia Reeves, mid-50s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. She sat in my empty living room with a legal pad and listened to everything without interrupting once. When I finished, she set down her pen. Mrs. Bradford, I'm going to be direct with you. This is elder financial abuse. It's a crime in this state. She flipped through her notes. The joint account complicates things, but the stolen documents, the unauthorized removal of property, the attempted coercion with the power of attorney, we have grounds for both civil and criminal action. My heart was pounding. What does that mean? It means we file an emergency injunction. We freeze that bank account so he can't take anything else. We file a police report for theft. And we get every single piece of your property back. Her eyes met mine. If you want to pursue this. I want my life back. Then that's what we'll get you. The next morning, Patricia filed the paperwork. By noon, my bank account was frozen. By 2 p.m., I got a phone call from my son. What the hell did you do? His voice was shaking. With rage or fear, I couldn't tell. The bank called me, said my access is suspended, said you filed some kind of fraud claim? I did. Mom, are you insane? I'm trying to help you. You stole from me. I didn't steal, I'm your son. I have every right. No, My voice was steady now, strong. You don't. Mom, where's my furniture? Silence. Where is my furniture? It's safe. I told you. Bring it back. All of it. Today. I can't just. Today. Or I press charges. He laughed. Actually laughed. You're not going to press charges. You're my mother. Try me. The line went dead. He didn't bring my furniture back. So the next morning, I went to him. Mrs. Chen drove. Patricia sat in the back seat with her briefcase. And Officer Martinez, a young cop who'd taken my police report the day before, followed us in his patrol car. Wellness check, he'd called it. But we all knew what it really was. A reckoning. My son lived in a nice neighborhood. Big houses, manicured lawns, 2-car garages. Built on my money, I realized. That down payment I'd given him 10 years ago, the loan he'd never paid back. Mrs. Chen pulled into his driveway and put the car in park. You ready? She asked. I looked at his house, saw his truck in the driveway, saw the curtains move in the front window. I'm ready. Patricia helped me out of the car. Officer Martinez walked up beside me, his body cam already recording. I made it up the 3 porch steps with my walker, slower than I wanted, but I made it. And I rang the doorbell. Footsteps inside, whispering. Then the door opened. My son stood there in sweatpants and a t-shirt, his face pale. Mom, what are you? Then he saw the officer. The lawyer. Mrs. Chen standing behind me with her arms crossed. What is this? His voice cracked. This is me getting my life back. I looked past him into his house. And there it was. My mother's china cabinet, right there in his dining room, visible through the doorway. That's mine, I said. Mom, please, let's just talk. We're done talking. I turned to Patricia. Show him. She pulled out a folder. The emergency injunction. The police report. The civil suit we'd filed that morning. Mr. Bradford, I'm Patricia Reeves, representing your mother. You are hereby notified that all property belonging to Eleanor Bradford must be returned within 48 hours. Failure to comply will result in criminal charges for theft and elder abuse. She handed him the papers. You're also being served with a restraining order. You are to have no contact with Mrs. Bradford, unless supervised by legal counsel. His hands were shaking as he took the papers. This is insane. She's my mother. I was trying to help her. By stealing her money, Officer Martinez stepped forward. By taking her furniture without permission, by attempting to fraudulently obtain power of attorney. I didn't. My son's face was red now. I have rights. I'm her son. And she has rights too. Patricia's voice was ice. Which you violated, repeatedly. I watched him. This man I'd raised. This stranger wearing my son's face. Why? My voice broke. Just a little. Why did you do this? He looked at me. Really looked at me for the first time in weeks. And I saw it in his eyes. Not love, not concern. Calculation. He'd looked at me lying in that hospital bed and seen dollar signs. Saw an old woman who was easier to control than to care for. Saw property he could liquidate. Assets he could access. He'd seen everything except his mother. You're going to regret this, he said quietly. No. I straightened up as much as I could with my walker. I regret raising a son who could do this to me. I regret trusting you. I regret every sacrifice I made for you. My voice was steady, strong, but I don't regret this. Patricia stepped forward. Mr. Bradford, do you understand the terms of this order? He didn't answer, just stared at the papers in his hands. Mr. Bradford? Yes, he said finally. I understand. Good. You have 48 hours to return all property. If anything is missing or damaged, you will be held financially responsible. She turned to Officer Martinez. We're done here. We walked back to the car. I didn't look back. I'd spent too many years looking back at him. 2 days later, a moving truck pulled up to my house. 2 men I didn't recognize unloaded everything. My father's desk, my mother's china cabinet, the bookshelf, the kitchen table, the chairs, the rocking chair from the porch. All of it. Mrs. Chen helped me check each piece, made notes of anything scratched or damaged. My son wasn't there, didn't call, didn't text. The restraining order was working. That evening, I sat in my father's desk chair, the one I thought I'd never see again, and opened the drawer. Inside was a folder, my folder, the one with my will, my insurance papers, the deed to my house, everything he'd stolen, everything I'd gotten back. At the bottom of the folder was a handwritten note on yellow legal paper. From Patricia, Eleanor, the bank is processing the return of your funds. Should be back in your account within 7 to 10 business days. I've also taken the liberty of removing your son from all joint accounts and updating your will. Your new power of attorney has been assigned to Mrs. Chen per your request. You're safe now. P. I held that note for a long time. Then I folded it carefully and put it back in the folder. Mrs. Chen knocked on my door around 7, brought me dinner, sat with me while I ate. "How are you feeling?" she asked. I thought about it, really thought about it. "Free," I said. And I meant it. 3 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. From my son. Mrs. Chen was there when I opened it. Patricia had told me I didn't have to read it, that I could just throw it away. But I wanted to know. The letter was short, typed, formal. "Mom, I've been advised by my lawyer not to contact you, but I needed you to know that I never meant to hurt you. I was trying to help, trying to make things easier for both of us. I know you don't believe that now, but maybe someday you will. I hope you're doing well. Your son." I read it twice. Then I handed it to Mrs. Chen. "What do you think?" she asked. "I think," I said slowly, "that he's sorry he got caught. Not sorry for what he did." She nodded. "What are you going to do?" I took the letter back, folded it carefully, put it in a drawer. "Nothing," I said. "I'm going to do absolutely nothing, and I'm going to live my life." "Good," Mrs. Chen smiled. "Now come on. I made dumplings, and this time you're going to teach me how to say delicious without slurring it." I laughed. A real laugh. Both sides of my mouth cooperating. Deal. I may have lost half my face to that stroke. But I didn't lose my mind. I didn't lose my home. And I didn't lose myself. My son lost something, though. He lost his mother. Not because she died, but because she finally learned to live without him.